Hello, my dear friends. Today I want to talk about something very simple but very powerful, and this is protecting your energy, which is very important from a yogic perspective, but in a modern, real life way, actually. Because this is not just a philosophy, this is something that affects our daily lives, our relationships, our peace, actually, everything, honestly, uh, our happiness as well. We should actually protect our energy because this is so valuable thing that we need it. We need it. First, I want to say one thing. If you are more sensitive, if you are working on yourself, if you are trying to live more consciously, you will feel energy more. And that also means you can lose it more easily actually. But this is not weakness, this is awareness. And it's like that with awareness comes more responsibility. So let's start with priorities. It was a big realization for me because we often say that family is important, that our well-being matters, and so on. But then we act differently in daily life. We say yes when we mean no. For example, we go somewhere where we don't want to go. We keep plans just because we are afraid of disappointing someone. And in our mind, we create stories then. We can think that they will be upset if we cancel this plan, or that someone will judge me, they will think something about me, blah blah blah. But very often, none of that is even true. Nothing happens actually. We create also lots of stories in our mind. And even if something does happen, is it worth going against yourself actually? This should be the question. So, and I have a friend who is very clear in this. She always decides based on what truly works for her and her family. Without drama, no overthinking. She cancels plans if needed, without any problems. She always chooses her energy first. That is what I like on her. And I realized then this is so powerful. This is strength. This is strength, not selfishness. And another very important thing, my master always warns about unnecessary talking, unnecessary talks. He always says, don't waste your energy on unnecessary talk, small talks, even gossips or complaining. It looks innocent, but it drains so much energy. Because words carry energy. What you listen to, what you say, what you repeat, you actually become that. He even says people come to his ashram in India to grow, to work on themselves, and then they spend hours talking, connecting, chatting, creating stories. Some of them create couples or good friends and so on. There's nothing wrong with it, but they sometimes forget why they came to that ashram. So we should always ask ourselves, why am I here? What is important for me? And we should protect it. So unnecessary talks, all these small talks, and you know that we should actually avoid it. And next, don't engage in fights and conflicts. This is very important. We often feel like we need to react, defend ourselves, explain, prove something. But from a yogic perspective, every conflict is an energy leak. Not every situation needs your reaction. Not every comment deserves your response. So you can choose not to engage. And this is not weakness. This is mastery. This is mastery, my dear friends. So that brings us naturally to the very interesting topic, which is boundaries. For a long time, I didn't resonate with this word because from a higher perspective, we are all one. So I didn't like the word boundaries for a long time. I always ask myself, why should we create some boundaries actually? But now I understand it differently. Boundaries are not separations. They are clarity. They are awareness of where I am, where I end, and where you begin. And healthy boundaries are essential if you want to protect your energy. But here's the key. Boundaries should not come from anger. They always should come from clarity. They should not come from defensiveness, from aggression, but from clarity. I love this word, actually, clarity. It is so nice because this is a calm, grounded place. This is not reaction. This is a conscious action, actually. And yes, it takes courage, it takes compassion, but also firmness. Because sometimes love is not saying yes. It could be also no. The expression of love could be no. Sometimes love is saying no. And something very freeing, connected with the freedom. Try to imagine, try to realize that you don't have to explain yourself. We sometimes have a feeling that we have to explain everything, but you don't have to defend your decisions. You don't have to respond to everything. Because we often feel this pressure to justify ourselves, to make others understand. But you don't have to. Instead of this, there is a really nice thing, and this is silence. Could be the greatest power for you, even if it feels uncomfortable, even if it feels weird at this moment to be silent. But we should stay there. Not everything needs to be filled with words. Not everything needs to be resolved through talking. Sometimes your silence protects your energy more than explanation ever could. So powerful is the silence. And also, be mindful of the people you spend the time with, especially people who are very ego-driven, because people who talk only about themselves, we don't really want to spend time with them. We don't really listen. Who take energy but don't give presence. It's not about judging them, but it's about awareness. And also it's a mirror for us. Because if we do the same, if we just speak about ourselves, people will feel it and they don't want to spend time with us. They don't want to be with us. Another important thing in this topic is stop blaming. In yoga, the position is never the victim position, even if something unfair happens to us. Yogi doesn't stay in blame, not blaming people, not blaming situations, not blaming life, love also, nothing. Because blame keeps you weak. And power comes from responsibility. It's like that. So from the decision, actually, I will not stay in suffering. My teacher calls it the position of a tiger. He is strong, calm, aware, not aggressive, but not weak. So stop blaming. Stop blaming yourself. And now something that might sound surprising. My master always says that we should not be too enthusiastic. Don't be too much. How he said it? He said always, don't be too much excited. And I always ask myself, why? Why actually? I heard many times that we should be excited. That, for example, if you want to sell something, but this doesn't mean don't be joyful. But we should notice this. When we are overly excited, overly open, we lose boundaries. We give too much. When we are too much excited, we are open. And if we, for example, say yes too quickly, well, we let some people come too close. Yeah, and sometimes people cross our boundaries without even realizing it. Because we open the door too wide. And in yoga, real power comes from calmness. To be calm. From inner stillness. Not from enthusiasm. From excitement. When we are calm, when you are calm, your energy is stable. And your boundaries are naturally stronger. It doesn't mean that you don't have to feel joy, be happy, but you know what I mean. You don't have to fight for them, for boundaries. They are just there, and you don't have to fight for them, for boundaries. They are just there. So sometimes it's better to stay in your calm power rather than to be too much open and enthusiastic, too much excited. Protecting your energy is not about isolation. It's not about cutting people off. It's about awareness, about choosing where your attention goes, who you give your time to, what you engage in, what you allow, and also accepting that you cannot control everything. You cannot choose your family, but you can always choose your response. You can choose your response. You can choose your inner position. So maybe today, just start with something simple. You can notice where your energy goes. Notice what drains you. Notice what gives you strength, what gives you energy. And start to make small shifts. Because energy is life. And how you project it is how you shape your life. Thank you for being here. Hariom.